red blood cells. These are cute little inner tube guys. They have these little inner tubes with a floor in them. They're really cool. They have one simple job. That simple job is to carry oxygen throughout your body. Remember, you need oxygen. Oxygen supplies the ability for cellular respiration to take place in the mitochondria. So remember, we have fuel, we have oxygen, they come together and they release ATP. ATP is energy. These little guys, these red blood cells, they have a chemical in them called hemoglobin. Hemoglobin. And hemoglobin has on it an element named iron. Iron is oxygen affinity. It has oxygen affinity. It will gather oxygen. So when this red blood cell travels through the lungs, and it's going to be traveling through the alveoli in the lungs, it's going to wrap its way around this little sac here. That iron is going to pull oxygen in, and that iron is going to get trapped on that red blood cell. All right, on that red blood cell. And so what ends up happening is that iron pulls that oxygen. Now, this is why people who are anemic can't get enough oxygen in their body, because they don't have the ingredient to gather the oxygen. And so people who are anemic need to worry about their iron intake because they need to take care of that. Some people are what we call sickle cell anemic, and typically this happens with African populations. And what ends up happening is it's a mutation in the cell where now the cell is folded like a cute little taco. And the problem with that is it does not pick up oxygen effectively. And so they are sickle cell anemic, which means they don't have enough oxygen, not because the iron is low, but because the cell is messed up. Now, these cells last about 120 days, which means that my blood in my body, I'm 51, my blood in my body is the same age as your blood. You don't have new blood. I don't have new blood. We have the same age blood. It's 120 days old, which I think is really cool. It's really neat that if I donate my blood to you, you don't have old person blood. You just have blood. Because that blood, as it travels through, it's going to travel through all these capillaries, and eventually it's going to kind of just break down. These capillaries are one cell thick, and so as these red blood cells travel through them, they start breaking down. And so about every 120 days, we're going to get red blood cells freshened up again. It's what's called hematopoiesis. So we're going to get new red blood cells. Now, where does the old red blood cells go? They're going to get taken out by the liver. So the liver is going to take them out and throw them into our digestive system, where our body's going to pull all the good stuff out, and the rest is going to get put into our poop. And so all of our poop is brown for one simple reason, because red blood cells, when they decompose, they will turn the ingredients around it brown. They're going to be brownish in coloration. So we poop out what our body doesn't take back in again. Now, with that being said, these red blood cells, they travel through the body. They're going to go to the heart. And when they go to the heart, they're going to get pumped out of the right side through what's called the pulmonary arteries to the lungs. The hemoglobin, the iron, is going to pick up the oxygen. It's going to travel back to the heart and then get pumped out again. And it's going to get pumped through the whole body, and the body's going to take oxygen as it needs. So it's really, really, really neat. Really, really cool. Other things that happen: if you go in the mountains, your body's going to start producing more red blood cells because there's less oxygen in the air. When it's in the mountains, there's less oxygen. So as a result, your body says, hey, we need to get more red blood cells because we have less oxygen. We need more hands out grabbing whatever oxygen is available. So as a result, your body goes through this hematopoiesis and starts making tons and tons and tons of red blood cells. And so you're hungry and you're burning through calories up in the mountains. Well, why? Because of the fact that the air is thinner, so less oxygen, so your body's building and building and building, going through all these red blood cells. You come back to the normal world of that regular non-altitude and you feel great because your body has all this ability to pull all this good red blood cells in. It's pretty darn awesome. Now, what happens is, around it, we've got plasma, and that's where the carbon dioxide is going to get put from the cells. And so the surrounding plasma is going to carry the carbon dioxide, and that's going to move out at the alveoli. So the red blood cells will pick up the oxygen, and the carbon dioxide will leave out of the lungs at the alveoli in the lungs. So that's red blood cells, really darn cool. They're very simple, very easy. One little small side note, if I pop myself in the arm and I give myself a bruise, well, basically what happens is that bruise is going to begin to change colors over time. And that's because the hemoglobin has a chemical in it called bilirubin. And bilirubin is going to be a yellowish in coloration type color. And that bilirubin is going to begin to break down over time, become biliverdin. And biliverdin is greenish in color. Verde, green, rubio, blonde in Spanish. So basically, you pop yourself in the arm, you got a bunch of broken red blood cells. It's going to turn black at first, and then it's going to start turning yellowish in coloration, and then it might start turning some greenish in coloration as it's healing. And that's because that bilirubin is starting to break down, and so the red blood cells begin to break down. First, they're blackish in coloration, then they break down into bilirubin, or that bilirubin shows itself, that yellow, and then you get biliverdin, becomes green. Also, some people's liver, which is what gets rid of red blood cells, they don't function well. They maybe through alcohol, or maybe when you were born, you get what's called jaundice. Jaundice, French word meaning yellow. And so what happens is your body begins to turn yellow. All right, and what happens is that bilirubin, rubio means blonde, begins to build up inside your body, and your skin will get yellowish in coloration. That's one of the big signs of liver failure. All right, so like stage 3 liver failure, you're building up bilirubin inside you. When you're a little kid, when you were born, your liver might not be functioning very well. And the reason why is because your mom was doing all the filtering for you. And so when you're born, your liver didn't have to work yet. And so it took a little bit to catch up. And so a lot of you guys were born and you were jaundiced as a little kid, and they had to put you out in the UV because the UV would help break down that bilirubin. I hope that made sense. That's red blood cells.